a separate section with sport. Our guest today, I mean, really, like I said in the introduction before the show, doesn't really need any introduction in the rugby fraternity. He's Mr. Shaun Erasmus. I was very happy last night when I was busy looking at some of his interviews that he does a fluent English. So I struggled a bit with Lee this morning. I see Judith had something Afrikaans, so we're ending it off in English today, and then Dean will speak Afrikaans. Yeah, I think we're going to circle that side as well. Yeah, so Shaun Root, I mean, he's been on every single level of coaching in rugby in South Africa, from school to provincial and SA schools. And he's really got a nice story on how, I actually wanted to ask him, how did he get into coaching? I think that's the fascinating story. But then also just, I mean, we have inter-schools this year for Paarl Boys High and Khum. He's the first team coach, and I think they didn't have one. This is the first one in 2 years, 2019, no, 2020. So it's probably a big thing for a lot of the matriculants this year. So, Dean, hoe gaan het eruit?
Ja, zoals ik weer zei, is Navi. So, can't complain.
Mr. Erasmus, thanks so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me, and yes, well done with what you guys are doing for the community. That's awesome.
Yeah, cool, man. Okay, before we start, welcome back to Paarl. I mean, you left us in 2016 and you're back. What is it, the heat that brought you back?
Yeah, no, definitely. Driving here this morning, just experiencing the traffic, it felt like I was back in Joburg again. But yeah, definitely back just for the community and what Paarl always offers. You know, it's just an amazing, beautiful place.
Yeah, okay. Before we get, I'm sure a lot of people know it, but probably a lot of people also don't know it. How did you get into coaching? Because that's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
I know you're probably tired of saying it, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, no, so obviously, like every schoolboy, I dreamt of playing professional rugby, and ended up playing club rugby in Harlequins in Durban, and then I hurt my back and my neck playing for the first side one weekend, and yeah, you know, that time my parents were supporting me, and I just felt I needed to do something, so I wanted to go and coach at the local school, Grosvenor Boys, which was right next to our club, and sort of like walked in there the morning, and as I walked in, this guy came like brushing out and sort of bumped into me, and I said, no, sorry, no, apologies, and then he said, can I help you? I said, yeah, you know, I just want to coach a little bit, help out and whatever, and he sort of like whistle in my chest type of thing, congratulations, you're the new first team coach, you know, sort of thing. And I was like, you know, I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but when do I start? He looked at his watch, goes, couple of hours time, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Wow. So I was like, yeah, so started like that, and always say to people, still have good contact with the players. I was sitting on the side there, and the guys, it's like a big surfing community, and you know, like the guys are, they were playing rugby, but I think they're probably better surfers, but sort of sitting there on the side, and the guys were talking like, you know, I believe this oak's quit, who's the new clown? Yeah. And I just sat and listened, and then when 3 o'clock came, blew the whistle, I said, I'm the new clown, let's get on the line.
Oh, no.
I ran them pretty hard the day, and yeah, that's how it all started, and just amazing journey.
I mean, if I looked at, I read some of your stuff as well. You had a very successful schoolboy rugby coaching career. So give us a bit about just teaching. I mean, we're going to chat about Paarl Boys High and Khum, because that's probably very big in South Africa. But where you were, I mean, Glenwood also, you were there as well. Just what you're doing differently that you have. I mean, Glenwood was nothing to something to a certain extent. What do you do different? And is it probably just a passion that is flowing through the veins? Yeah,
I think, you know, like playing school rugby, I had a coach that I looked up to. You know, we talk often about it at school now, Paul. You know, like we are basically proxy dads. You know, we spend more time with the boys than most dads do. You know, we spend more time with the boys. So for me, I think my thing has always been, I want to be that special person for that boy in the school. I want to be that father figure, that person that he can talk to anything. So I think relationships are really important. Before you coach the technical aspect of the game, you've got to work with the person. You know, good people make good rugby people, rugby players make good people everywhere. So I think that's just always been my passion. I enjoy spending time with the boys. So, you know, always got a plan on tour, always got something planned or something, you know. Always talk about when we go on tour, travel, I never tell them where we're going. We're always going to camp nowhere, you know, like try and get them excited, you know, and make it something. And that's how I was brought up. And that's just something that I like to get over to the boys as well. It must be something that they look forward to every day.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes I think with the schoolboy, like my son also plays soccer, it's like they take it too serious and they miss the fun. Because 100%. We were at the match on Sunday and I told him, like everybody there was, I think they were losing like 5-0. And I'm like, they all walked off the field and I said, guys, it doesn't look like you're having fun. And I think that, especially with rugby in South Africa, the kids must be so serious about it. It needs someone to say, guys, have a bit of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, your top 20 school level, yes, there's a lot of pressure as it is, you know, and everybody feels that their son is good enough to be a professional player one day, and I think that pressure a lot of times comes onto the boys, and then you just don't see that full potential.
Yeah.
That's why you have all those late developers, you know, that just come through right at the end, because that pressure is just off and they're just enjoying it.
Yeah. Okay, so we at school level, and then we moved over to, I think you did the SA under 19 as well with Lance Sinden also from Paarl. So how was that experience as well from school level to such a setup?
Yeah, yes, see, get emotional just thinking about it. I remember getting my first SA Schools blazer. It's just surreal, you know. It just is so special, you know, when you see guys doing the anthem on rugby games and you see the tears coming and that raw emotion. It's all there when you get your first blazer. So for me, it was no different. I grew up in Escort, very small town. When I left there, a lot of people said I'd never make it. You know, it's just sort of like that feeling when you put that blazer on. It's almost like, wow, you know, this is just that nice step up. You know, it's just perfect. So yeah, with God's grace and everything, you just got that opportunity. And yeah, you know, when you line up for that first test against England or Wales, and they sort of singing their anthem, and there's all that emotion, and yeah, it's just so special.
And I think we actually miss that because we're always looking at the players that are getting the blazers, but I mean, there are achievements of background people also getting like, they're becoming a Springbok coach type of thing.
So special. So special.
Okay, so we came to Paarl. I mean, so I think you're probably one of the most successful Paarl coaches. I mean, they were unbeaten for quite some time. How did it come? Did Paarl phone you? What, do you have other offers?
Yeah, I was actually with Glenwood at that time, and I'd been with Glenwood for 10 years, started up the sports academy, got everything going there, and working with really good people. You know, Tony Pinheiro, Andre Barnes, really good leadership there. Those people really shaped me and helped me become the person that I am. And then we actually played Wildeklaver, we played Paarl boys. Thomas de Tooy was the captain.
Okay.
And we narrowly sort of pipped them.
Wow.
And then just coincidentally, somebody on the side of the field asked me, you know, would you ever leave Glenwood? Would you ever go somewhere else? And if so, where would you go? And I said, yes, you know, just experiencing the gentlemanship and the sportsmanship of how Paarl boys, you know, sort of carried themselves through this game in a loss as well, you know, how they sort of handled themselves. Paarl would be like right on the top of my list. And 2 weeks later, I was doing my level 3 in Stellenbosch, and I got a phone call asking if I'd come and apply.
What?
Yeah, so yeah, and from there, the rest is history. It just got that opportunity, and you know, brought my wife here the first time. We still stayed in Roodeberg guest house the first time we were here, and we just walking down the main street, we just felt like this is where we want to bring up our children. This is where we want to be.
What, I mean, you of course, after that you moved to the Lions, but I just want to ask you, what is it like coaching like Paarl Boys High, which is like a big team in South Africa, and the pressure, like you mentioned as well, and there's inter-schools as well. I mean, that year is not only special from a matric perspective for some kids, but I mean, inter-schools at that school is massive. What's the experience of entering into this, what you call it, this rugby, like historical, cultural rugby school?
Yeah, I must say, my first year coming from Glenwood, I tried to do things the way that I did in Durban, and then walking into Forest Street that first time, I was like, wow, okay. You know, everybody said it's big and it's exciting and there's a lot of people, but when I walked into Forest Street that day, I mean, I still got goosebumps. I think about it and I think, yes, that was special. That's crazy. I mean, you've never seen that at schoolboy level before. But I think, you know, what makes it worthwhile and what makes it sort of work and take the pressure off, I've really been surrounded by good people that coach with me and worked with me. You know, all my assistant coaches, we talk about ourselves as a family, you know, and we absorb that pressure together. We just, you know, work together, and it's never a one-man show. It's never ever been that, you know. It's never been about Sean Erasmus. It's been about Paarl boys, the family, and the coaching group and the boys. That's what it's all been about.
And you and Gim's coach, I mean, do you have like coffee together every now and again and discuss teams?
Yeah, I remember when I came to Paarl, I bumped into him in one of the shops, and I said, hey, we must have a braai together. And he sort of like looked at me like, and I thought, well, I thought it was the done thing in Paarl, you know, so we should have a braai together. But no, Peter and I actually get along quite well. He's a good man, he's a good coach, and I respect him.
Yeah, 100%. Before we go on to Sean,
was nog niet op mijn lijstje. Soos baas van gesê op schoolvlak, rugby level, of as je sien by veral by boys, as jy daar neer gekom, is dit graad
11. Ja, graad 11, ja.
As jy graad 11 kom jy kry kontrak maak op by Sharks.
Ja.
op daai oomblik het hy nog geen agent. Is dit verpligting vir die coach om voor te help om 'n goeie besluit te maak of met van sy ouers?
Ja, ek sê altyd vir die seuns, ek hou daarvan om deel te wees van daai hele proses. Want dis vir my belangrik. Ek dink ek het nou redelik baie ervaring gehad. Ek was by die Sharks gewees in my tyd. Ek het nou 'n bietjie by WP junior strukture en by die Lions nou. So ek hou daarvan om betrokke te raak by dit want ek wil graag goeie advies gee. Ek dink dit is belangrik om vir kinders goeie advies te gee want jy weet op daai ouderdom staan dit 9 graad 11. Ek dink ja, jy sien dit neek regtig met jou kop. Jy weet tensy iemand vir jou goeie leiding gee. Maar ek moet sê daar's baie goeie agente op die oomblik wat met die kinders werk en hulle werk goed met die kinders en gee jy weet goeie geleenthede wat hulle vir die kinders bied. Maar ja, ja, ek sê altyd vir die ouers asseblief kom gesels en kom ons werk saam. Wat jy nie wil hê nie is 'n ouetjie kry al 'n geleentheid in graad 11 en dan in sy laaste jaar is hy nie daar nie want hy dink hy's nou al klaar, jy weet, he's arrived already.
Yeah.
So jy wil net daai geleentheid hê om te werk en te sê, "Yes, well done. Jy het hom verdien tot nou hierso. Nou moet ons eers begin hard werk, want nou begin die harde werk."
Die rede hoekom ek vraag, ek was in graad 11 gewees, toe ek akademie gekry by Virginia Sports Academy.
Ja.
En welkom. Die leiding was kan ek sê, toe ons daar kom, toe was net gebeld te sê ons kan kom.
Ja.
Akademie was daar gewees. Maar as ek sê, soos vir my gesê, die vaderfiguur was hier te raak. As jy opstaan speel, en dink dat waar baie mense die beste van die akademie.
Ja.
Van ons het die leiding gehad en enigste ons het net 3 spelers wat van die akademie wat nog vandag uitstaan, was so solid gedraag.
Ja.
Wat samen ons daar ook nog spelers wat gemaakt het. Maar soos ek sê, het is moeilijk vir 'n seun van buitenaf as hy nie alle vaardige figuur of agent het.
Ja. Ja, ek moet sê ons het teen daai akademie gespeel. Daai julle was 'n klomp talentvolle manne gewees in daai akademie. Dit was amazing geweest. Maar soos jy sê, ek meen ek het baie gepraat daarvan by die Lions ook, jy weet. Jy vat 'n ouetjie nou uit 'n skoolomgewing en waar hy 24 uur se lewe beplan is vir hom eintlik en daar is 'n figuur daar wat leiding gee en vir hom sê jy weet kom hierso wees daar jy weet nou ewe skielik in wanneer jy in die pro dinge gaan jy weet hier is jou salaris dis wat jy voorbetaal word sien jou so laat en alles tussenin is vir hulle om te doen wat hulle wil en as daar nie goeie leiding is dan val die man 'n bietjie van die bus af. Jy weet so ek dink ons het al baie talent so verloor net met dit.
Okay, so what are the sport? I mean, this weekend we had some Paarl cricket, we had Paarl High School of cricket, and there was rugby.
Ja, dan ek het matches ek dinsdag die scores het gesien en ek het net die fixes van môre. Dis 'n hele paar op my lys. Paarl Oost teen Begraafvuur môre en dan sit Paarl teen Van der Stel. Drakensberg Edio teen Wemezoek en People's teen die Paarl Oost speel môre tuis teen Begraafvuur en dan Cornelius weg. Paarl speelt in Van der Stel weg en Drakensberg Edio weg. People speelt in de Wit is van Woester.
Okay.
En dis 'n buitekant Woester. En hulle speel tuis en dis 'n Queen teen Klapmuts.
Okay, cool.
Ja. En dan is dit ek sien Roses se game teen Durbel.
Ja.
Dis op Newton se veld. So as twee Derby.
Well, that's a nice game. Durbel's a big team.
Yes, Super League uit.
Oh, wow.
En Roses is amper soos 'n Boland se Super League uit soos.
Ja.
En hulle speel op Newton se veld en so.
Wen dis die naweek.
Dis môre ja.
Oh, wow.
En dan hulle speel op Newton Village se veld, dis die veld in jou regterkant.
Ja.
En dan sit Newtons en Hillcrest, dan is 'n groot derby
Ja.
in Wellington.
Ja.
Maar hy het games is langs mekaar en dan ja, hy is en dat is nou die Super Pacific die rugby wat vandag begin, Waratahs teen Fijian en dat is vanaand Griekwas in die VP. Kom ons so in Erasmus vir
Ek wou jou gevra het. Waar sit ons geld vir vanaand?
Griekwas in die VP. Ek sien Griekwas is die favorites in daai een. Vir wie sal so nou?
Ja, yes, ek moet sê yes. Ek dink die Karibeker op die oomblik vir die groot spanne is baie jonk want baie van die ander spelers speel in die URC op die oomblik. So Griekwas, die Pumas, daai manne, hulle en Cheetahs, jy weet, dis vol spanne, dis vol sterkte spanne. En Griekwas hou daarvan om dit te wil sag maak. Hulle wil sag maak, jy weet, so maar ek dink as weer by die tempo kan hou, gaan dit nogal interessant wees.
Ek het vanoggend hulle span kyk, die backline lyk baie goed.
Ja. En dis die ding, as weer begin hardloop dan raak dit nag vir mense.
En dan gister is dit 'n paar Rocks op die Warriors. Die Warriors het nog een game gewen in die CA Championship cricket. Paarl Rocks wen hulle 170 geskoor en Warriors 156. Hy was 'n lekker game geweest.
Dis mos nou die T20
yes,
national.
En Rocks wen met 3 wickets en die Titans en die Lions het ook gespeel by die Titans met 7 wickets. Maar op die ogenblik is het die Proteas wat een slechte toer het. Maar de eerste dag was het eerst 95, de eerste dag en dan is het voor...
95 all out.
All out.
Ja,
Ja,
dat
Jo.
all out.
95 all out.
En de dag 2 het New Zealand vooruit die toer gescoord. Dag 2 alles dit voorstaan ze allemaal uitgebouwd. In Zuid-Afrika, zo'n tijdje terug staan Zuid-Afrika 34-3. Alle 350, alle trail met 353. Ik denk, je gaat een moeilijke taak.
Een van ons beste batsmen is hier bij jou. So,
Ja, kijk wie. Een paar jaar bij die Dolphins. Voor 50.
Sean, okay, so tell us the plans 2020. Of course, 2022, big year, inter-schools is up.
Yes.
I had a fascinating chat with one of the teachers as well, and they said they can see there's a massive physical difference with the fitness of kids because of the past 2 years. And of course, I also wanted to ask you, how are the other kids that didn't play inter-schools? Like, you probably have them a year. How they ended
I mean, if you look at it, the group is basically made up now of the under-15s. The last time they played inter-schools, they're now the first team.
Wow.
So, you know, so now when you work with them, you can just see fundamentals and just the catch and pass, all the basics are really missing. You know, we're just working really hard on getting that. Nothing fancy, nothing special, just getting the fundamentals going. We're training at the moment. I'm taking the guys on Saturday for the park run because I think it's also important to be seen by the community and to get the boys out. You know, instead of sitting on Saturday morning doing nothing,
100%.
they're out. The other guys are playing cricket and the rugby guys. So if you guys want to come and join us for a park run, we'll see you guys on Saturday morning. Miles, see you there.
I'll be 100% there.
I'm sure we can video you getting right to the front there with some of the boys. But yeah, you know, it's you can definitely see that the guys have been out of business for 2 years. But
zo'n week nou op die oomblik met die graad 7 was van 2 jaar terug.
ja.
Hy het soos die kinders wat nou in skool gekom het. So hy's 'n moeilike taak.
Nee, yes, en dis ook wat ek sê, is, jy weet. Dis heeltemal anders.
I mean, like you also said, you're more like also the father figure because, I mean, COVID also impacted, like there's a lot of stuff happening mentally as well.
Yeah, no,
so,
definitely.
I mean, like, and we're all in a new age now with rugby, so it's not just fitness. What is your view on like also that mental health with the kids in rugby? Because kids are taking it too serious. For me personally, like the sport is becoming too serious, but also they also have big dreams to become professional. But what is your view on that and what you're doing?
Yeah, I think mental toughness, you know, has become a massive thing. It always has been for me. You know, you've got to prepare. You know, mentally, you've got to get everybody sort of prepared and working hard because, like you say, after 2 years now of sitting around, not having sport, going to school, sometimes not going to school, then going home, and then, you know, literally there's nothing for that time. Now suddenly you're sort of cramming back in again, you know, you've got cricket practice, you've got swimming, you've got this and that. So, I mean, it's like us getting back into jogging again or training in after a while, you know. You don't really feel like getting up in the morning and going for a run. It's the same with them, you know. They're going through the same thing. So for me, it's been about trying to just get into their heads, you know, trying to sort of build that mental toughness and resilience with them and sort of get them going. That's why we do the park run and different things, because you don't just want to get them on the line and just run them all the time, you know. You want to sort of be diverse and have different things, doing different things with them, just to get them back going again and moving.
And as a coach, talent versus a hard worker.
Oh, it's awesome to have both of those together in one. But, you know, like that saying you know, like hard work will always trump that talent. You know, if talent doesn't work hard. So, you know, that's the big thing. And I've seen so many talented youngsters before in my life. Hulle kom in so talentvol, hulle weet dit, maar hulle werk nie hard nie. Hulle voel hulle gaan net opdaag. Hulle gaan net opdaag met 'n natuurlike talent and they just feel like, wow, you know, I just have to pitch up. And eventually the hard worker adapts that same talent plus the hard work and he just, you know, he just dominates the scene.
As ek het een vraag voor zo'n boys first and coach is was almost rituals and boys geweest. Moet zo'n aangepaste ritual of zo'n
Ja, ek hou nou weer daarvan om my eie goeders te doen. Ja, ek hou daarvan om my eie goeders te doen. Ek weet elke ou het maar sy nikke en stote en stampe, maar ek hou daarvan om my eie ding te bou om die seuns. Ek hou daarvan ek hou daarvan om 'n omgewing te bou wat lekker is vir almal. So ja, ek kan nie coaches aanhou of doen wat 'n ander ou doen nie. So ek kom in en maak maar my eie spasie, jy weet, saam met my coaches besluit ons wat gaan ons anders te doen.
Yeah, so I mean, you left boys side to go to provincial, so you went to Lions and Sharks and VP, but you ended up as a Lions. What's the biggest eye-opener from school level rugby, also quite professional, up until the provincial level, which is also professional, where people get paid to play?
Yeah, I think, one of the things, I was very blessed to get an opportunity to quickly move up to Currie Cup and then to Super Rugby with the Lions. And before COVID hit, we were overseas for a 4-week tour for Super Rugby. And we played in Sydney, we played the Waratahs first. And yes, I promise you, just sitting in the hotel room that night, busy doing analysis, I was like, wow. The level is it's just crazy. The detail is just crazy, And then I remember losing against the Blues in Eden Park in Auckland, and afterwards just sort of quickly brushing past the coaches and the attack coach going like, yeah, this guy and this guy is always out of position on defense, so we attacked like this because of this guy and this guy. And I thought,
Next level.
it's just, the learning is it's just that quick, and that, those guys are just next level. I mean, and I said, we're a very young Lions team, and I always believe that team just needs more time to sort of come through. But standing in the tunnel there's like 3/4 of an all-black team.
Yeah.
And we had some guys making their debuts, and like the guys are like looking to the left and going like, wow, I've just seen you at a test series playing against the Aussies and the Springboks, and here you are, we're playing against you. So I think the level of the intelligence level and how accurate the players are there, I mean, those guys don't earn big money for nothing. They are super professional. I always say to people, like, probably one of the most professional people I've ever worked with at that level is Elton Yankees. When you sort of work with guys like that, you realize, like, okay, that is why they earn big money, that is why they do well, because they're just super professional. The environment is just super professional.
Wat so nou praat van om te sê, hy sit lyn. Ons coach by Virginia gewees, was Jan Oberholster gewees.
Ja.
Ja, daai man, as eerste van skoolvlak af na die akademie toe. Daai man kan vir jou presies so sê hoeveel bolle hy aangeslaan het.
Ja.
Hoeveel mistakes het hy gemaak. Nou kyk jy, nou tel sy. Ek dink dit is wat self. So hy's 'n groot aanpassing as iemand vir jou sê, alright, 10 mistakes gemaakt, 3 bolen genoeg. En zij was zoveel keer in die backline geweest, maar ze moeten in die pacht geweest.
Ja, nee, is it next level.
And just quickly, nowadays everything is data. I mean, the people can be tracked. I think you got this thing.
Yeah, GPS, everything.
I mean, that type of information after every match, it must be so much because you can actually track. So, I mean, just the analysis of that data and what's happening in the background, how much information is gathered on like one match? Because I can imagine it's video footage, it's audio footage, it's this tracking.
No, like you can easily say analysis paralysis, because if you go too deep into it, you can get lost in it. But every player is wearing a GPS pod now on the back of his jersey, so you can read impact, you can see at what impact he's hitting, you can see how many meters he's covering, you can see where he's run, what he's done. So, when you go to a guy afterwards and you say, yes, well done, you had a good game gehad, or you come to me and say, I thought you had a good game, but you said I didn't. Then when you pull up that sheet, you can literally say, you only covered X amount of kilometers, you've only done this, you only did this guy did 10, you did 5 kilometers. So we can see, and then based on that, the conditioning coaches, obviously with us as well, Rainer Rust, our conditioning coach, he works out the load for all the players for the week, so that we don't overload them, because you can easily overrun the guys and kill them with that. So he works out everything exactly to that GPS pod, how much training we should do and what we should do. Yeah,
no, it's massive. Probably changes rugby coaching.
No, definitely. So from the old VHS tape to GPS pod.
So if a player says, coach goes moeg, you can say, but you only ran 500 meters.
100%. And at pro level, I say to people, we played against the British and Irish Lions. They had 2 52-seater buses just with staff. Just with staff arriving there. So when they arrived at Ellis Park, when they set up all their technology, when you ask, they just say literally on field, the conditioning coach can tell the coach which player is busy performing, where he should be and which is not, so the coach can make subs on live information immediately right there on the game. So it's crazy. Technology is crazy.
No, I can imagine. Who's the mastermind in rugby in South Africa and in the world currently? First South Africa, then in the world for you?
Well, I think, obviously can't look too far to our own people, Jacques Ninabe and Rassie. They're doing extremely well. I don't think you become number one in the world that easily without doing the right stuff. So I think, Jacques and Rassie and the Springboks at the moment, they're really doing amazing stuff. And, it's always nice because you can they're open to people. Jacques is approachable. You can actually talk and gain knowledge from. So I think they're right up there. People like Eddie Jones I've always admired because he's like one of those guys who said, jy kan vir Eddie vra 1995, wat het daar gebeur en dan sal Eddie sê, daai ou 10 tackles gemaak, daai ou sê just a different crazy mindset with where they are, and then obviously just that I've been very blessed to have 2 opportunities to go over to New Zealand and go and learn there. Just the approach, the whole world's rugby approach is different. But people that I'd say that you sort of got to watch now coming through is the French and the Irish. Just see the French and the Irish are just playing a different brand of rugby at the moment.
Yeah, the top Six Nations,
Yeah, they're going for their Grand Slam.
I wanted to ask you as well, because I've also heard that in New Zealand, the school rugby and the provincial rugby, they all the coaches speak together because they want. I mean, that's not the same in South Africa.
No, I mean they've got a guy they call him an RDO, Regional Development Officer, and his job is per region. Like let's say Paarl, Wellington, and Franschhoek. Now we'd have one RDO.
Okay.
His job would be just to relay all the information from Rassie and Jock. All the way down to all the coaches, all the clubs here, all the new trends, everything. And I remember one of the RDOs was on the course with me and he said to me, come, let me go and show you where I work. And we drove and there was this big container on the side of the road that was like his middle point for where his area that he was working. And he opened it up and it was just coaching material. Just shelves and shelves full of DVDs, CDs, coaching material, books. Just anything you wanted to know about All Black rugby at that time, from grassroots level all the way to the top. And he was like, help yourself. And I remember leaving like a bag of clothes behind because I had all these books and stuff that I brought back. So I think, there's still that big need that we have that line from the top to the bottom sort of coming through. And I think it is a lot harder because South Africa is a massive country and we've got triple the amount of rugby players. But that would be the ideal place, is to build academies and have those regional development officers that sort of relay that information, because there's a massive hunger for knowledge in rugby at the moment.
Yeah, and of course also I think in South Africa each union has got their own style of rugby. So people know global rugby, VP rugby. Most impressive player you've coached?
Wow. Like I said, I mean, at professional level, working with guys like Elton and them, they're a really special bunch of guys. Schoolboy, it's really hard because, I mean, Evan Roos and them are, they next level. Franco Horn, Boeta Chamberlain with the Sharks, Takir Abrams with the Sharks at the moment.
Salman also, who you coached?
I was about to say, probably the person, I really got a lot of respect for Salman. I've always said to people, I think he's a future Springbok captain. He's a good man. I have fond memories of Salman before a game with little boys like this from Claim Boys in the community, taking them into our change room at first team level and showing them what we do. And he's a good man. He comes from a good family. I have a lot of respect for him. So definitely somebody that I say you must look out for.
Okay, cool. Except of course everybody wants to be a Springbok coach. What else are the big dreams?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I just want my family to come first. I mean, that's why we came back to Paarl. We just got to find our feet again as a family and just get back to loving doing what we did. I mean, Joburg is a tough place. You're very far away from everything, and we went there alone. So it's just nice to be back here in community and have the support system again, being back in Paarl. The rest of it, just leaving that up to God. I mean, he's got a path for me. He's sort of showing me different doors at different times.
Yeah.
So, but what I really want to do now is just get back and get myself properly covered in blue all the way. Get the boys up and going after COVID. I mean, the team actually did quite well in the last couple of years, so I'm just really keen to get going with them and really push hard.
And when you start, when's the first game? I mean, what's happening?
Yeah, we're playing 12th of March. We're playing at Porterville, so we're actually going to play a district team there, Boland district team there. Nice. So I'm really excited because once again, it's going to give me an opportunity to look at that talent and see what's happening there. And then we go straight into a couple of chukkers, and then the end of March is our first big tournament in Pretoria, the Noordside Rugby Tournament, where all the schools go. And then from there's non-stop until the 30th of July when it's the big one in Forest Street.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you get a lot of calls from scouts and say, hey, Sean, we see this player.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell me that process, because, I mean, that's all in the background.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of guys will phone and ask about it. And once again, for me, that's a massive privilege and a real big kudos on the school, for the school, when people phone and ask about our players, because that's actually what you want to do. You want the boy to go all the way through and one day wear green and gold and talk about his time at Boys Eye. That's sort of where I am with my mindset with that. So, a lot of people phone and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of that guy? you know, I think Saru've done really well. They've got an early player development program as well, and they've got guys like Herman Masimla and Nico Sarfontein that run that. So it's also nice to hear from them when they say, you know, what do you think of this boy? What do you think of this boy? So yeah, and we've got a couple of boys that Western Province at the moment have in their high performance structures.
Wow.
So it's nice to get that phone call and hear that the boys are doing well.
Yeah. So we always ask the guests before they leave, your Springbok team 9 to 15, currently at the current, what we have, the pool of talent and who are playing currently, URC, overseas, and so from 9 to 15.
Ja.
Yes, you're putting me under pressure here because
no
I'm
boys
actually
are.
a forwards coach. No boys are. No, well, testing. No, I mean, I think obviously as they've got the Springbok team at the moment, they've sort of got it right. So yeah, I'd probably go with Herschel. I still believe, and a guy like Elton and Andre at 10, it would be sort of a toss-up for me. Depends how you want to play. The centre pair with Lucania and with Damien is for me a nice pair because they really do well there. Mapimpi, just because of his ability, just his ability at the moment in the air and in the way that he's grown is amazing for me. Fullback, I'd like to see Warwick come through. I'd like to see Fassi come through. The nice thing about Willie is Willie just brings so much leadership and stability. You know, whether we like it or not, you need at that level you need a hard beard, an old man there doing the thing, and you know, you sort of need that. And then who would we put on the other wing? We sal ons op die ander vleuel speel. There's so many good wings at the moment. That's the thing is, there's just so many good wings at the moment. So Cebu with the Sharks, you know, they make good reads. And I mean, I'm talking about defensive patterns. Jock likes those wings to make good reads and make good decisions on the edge. So there's a couple of guys there. You actually put me on the spot with that last wing. But yeah.
Okay, but Shaun, thanks so much. Good luck for this year. I mean, this is massive for you. I think the pressure, like, it's probably not on you because you say you're like a family team, so this is on the team. Good luck with inter-schools because I think this year there's a hunger.
30ste Julie.
30 July.
Yeah, it's a week closer now. It was always the first weekend in August, but
so I'm sure this year it's probably going to be bigger than ever because so many people.
Ik heb altijd die game gekeken, maar ik was een middelman. Ik heb nooit support boys. Ik was no boys.
Yes, man. And I'm just saying that the week before, I'll be paying special attention to your program then because you're going to be wearing blue that week.
Definitely.
Something blue.
Yeah,
and if you want to borrow something blue, please come and see us, and we'll make sure that you have something special blue.
Soos 'n blou draad dink ek sal daar nooit na sou.
Yeah, sure. But thanks so much for your time. I know you're very, very busy.